and welcome to Mimi's Sketchbook. Today my illustration was inspired by Paul David Tripp's book New Morning Mercies, and it is August 18th. The other day I was at my daughter's house and taking a little walk with my grandson, and they have a piece of property where there's a lot of beautiful fields and trees and a little woods, and it's next to a large creek, and there's a lot of wildlife that lives around there. And my grandson said, you hear that? And I'm like, what? And he said, do you hear the hawk? And I'm like, no. And he said, it's right up there, and he pointed to it. It was so high up. I couldn't believe that he had spotted this, let alone heard it. And so I stopped, and I really intentionally had to focus to hear the hawk, and even to see it because it was so high up. Now let me just stop and say that my hearing is pretty good, and my vision is pretty good too. So that's not like I can't hear and I can't see. But in comparison to what my grandson sees, I am really missing out on a lot. And I often think of him as having an eagle eye, because he has an acuity, a visual acuity that just amazes me. And he seems to be attuned to nature. He's alert, always looking for and listening to sights and sounds and movements that are happening around him. So when we go out in the fields looking for praying mantis, he's catching them left and right. And I'm just trying to find one in the grass. And even when he points them out to me, I still have a hard time spotting them. This is a good time of year to go spotting the praying mantis in the fields, because they are full grown and they are mating at this time and laying their eggs. And actually they'll die off in the fall, and the eggs will hatch in the spring, and they'll grow up to adults, and the cycle will continue. The female is green and the male is brown, and they're long and skinny and are camouflaged so beautifully in the tall grasses. And they're not all that large. The female, I would say, is about 4 inches long, and the male is smaller by about 1/3. They got their name praying mantis because their arms kind of curve up, and it looks like they are praying hands. But these creatures are anything but devout. The plural of mantis isn't mantises, but mantids, IDS. And they eat all kinds of insects and frogs and lizards and small birds. And they've been known to hang out near hummingbird feeders and attack the hummingbirds. But once they get their prey in sight, they have these large compound eyes that can see in 3D. And so once they get them in sight, they can jump at lightning speed, and they wrap their legs around the prey, and the legs have spikes on them, and it says they skewer their prey. And I guess it's also pretty common that once a male and female are finished mating, the female will grab the male and eat him for dinner too. So if you're ever tempted to pick one up, be careful, because I know I've been skewered, and my grandkids actually just FaceTimed me, and they had several praying mantises in a bucket, and my granddaughter said she got bit by one, and my grandson said he got poked pretty bad. Although it doesn't look like it in this picture, you do have to be careful when you handle a praying mantis. Today, in his devotions, Paul Tripp says that when Jesus takes up residence in our life, everything changes. Nothing remains the same. And we look at life differently. And when we live like we believe it, it's like we become more visually acute. And we can see that God has given us everything we need to be what we're supposed to be and do what we're supposed to do. And here's some more good news. We don't have to look for answers or solutions anywhere else. My grandson loves to be outside in the countryside and explore all the animals and the birds and the insects that are all around him. And he does have good eyesight, but he also is actively searching and looking for things. And you know what? Every day he finds a treasure. And that's how I want to be. Every day out there actively seeking, so I don't miss out on a single treasure that God has given me. So thank you for joining me on this little countryside safari today at Mimi's Sketchbook. I hope you enjoyed it and that it was an encouragement to you. And if it was, could you please give it a thumbs up and maybe share this with someone else? And in that way, YouTube will help us to share the good news. So thank you, and God bless.